Is Barack Obama mentioned in the Bible? Is Barack Obama the king of the North? Could ancient spirits work across the centuries to achieve their goals using multiple famous individuals? Find out tonight on the Midnight Ride.
And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up. Who is able to make war with him?
Good evening, everybody, and welcome once again to the Midnight Ride. I am excited once again to be here in the NYSTV studios for the Midnight Ride with myself and Jon Pounders. Tonight, Barack Obama, the King of the North, we're going to be looking at prophetic patterns that span the centuries and how ancient spirits labor to achieve their agendas. And we're going to be looking at it real soon. As a matter of fact, right now, because we are now
live. What's up, guys? We're here in the Puritan Barn again, live. And man, you guys are great for being here. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Stay tuned. We're going to have some polls in the chat that you guys have to vote on. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait for it. This show is really interesting to me because, man, I remember a time period where when Obama was president, almost everyone thought this guy is the Antichrist. I mean, not everyone, but a lot of people did. All right, and I didn't necessarily think that. I didn't know. I didn't really look at it. I didn't take it seriously. But a lot of people really believed it. And now, after doing your PowerPoint, I'm starting to see why they believed it, because a lot of people mix up these the King of the North and the Antichrist in Scripture. So I'm excited to look into it with you, David. It's gonna be cool.
I am too. It's going to be exciting. There's going to be some really neat things.
Yep. And so, guys, just so you know, August 22nd and 23rd in Cave City, Kentucky, SpiracyCon. And it's not just a cool name of a conference. It is an actual conference that me and David Carrico are going to be there, and we hope to meet you guys there. Make sure that if you are able to do it soon, because it's coming up very quickly. I think we have less than 15 days, maybe 15 days. I don't know. I'm not doing the math right now, but we don't have much time before it happens. And a lot of people have already bought tickets. We're excited to see those of you that are coming there, and we can't wait. And I'm super excited about it. And for those of you that have listened to our channel for a long time, you'll know that we don't do these very often. So it'll be a great chance to meet up with you guys and for us to meet up, us to meet up with you guys and for you guys to meet up with us too. So I'm excited about it. And if you want to buy tickets for that, the links in the description. David, what's going on in your neck of the woods? I know we got a lot of shows coming up here on NYSTV, and I know you do over on FOJC as well.
Well, tomorrow night we're going to be doing an interview with T and Peter Logan. We're going to be talking about bloodlines, trafficking, and the case with Jonah Reef. Where is Jonah Reef? That is ongoing with T and Peter. So they're friends of FOJC and now UCTV, and we like them. So we're going to be looking forward to that Sunday night.
Yeah, man, I'm excited about that one. We've been working behind the scenes a little bit on this documentary thing. We haven't really started it yet, but they're working on this documentary, and they're working with a lot of people to bring this together. And the story is a really compelling and interesting, sad story to begin with, but very hopeful. I think they have this hope and this desire, so it's going to be cool. I'm excited about that one. So, well, guys, there's lots that I could say. Actually, I do want to announce something real quick, because I have an interview that I did just today, actually, and it's not going to be till next Friday night, late night Friday, after Dan Bedondi's show over on FOJC. But I interviewed a friend of mine that I went to Bible college with, and I knew my whole life. And man, we did it at their studio, and I want you guys to check this out because it has a lot to do with who I am today and what kind of the path that I went on as well. So it's very interesting. So I want to plug that for you guys. So subscribe if you haven't seen it. All right, David, that's enough of my jabbering on about the things we got going on. I don't think a lot of people don't care about that, but what they do care about is Obama. So let's talk about Obama.
All right. Well, we're going to be drawing from Scripture spiritual principles and prophetic trends. And some people call these ciphers prophetic parallels. And they're the results of spirits that outlive the human people that they're influencing. The people that are being used by a certain spirit will die, but the spirit will continue with its agenda, and they always seem to have plenty of people that will cooperate with them. But let's begin in Matthew 12:25 and 26. And Jesus knew their thoughts and said unto them, Every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. And if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? And one of the basic premises that helps us to understand this is that Satan's kingdom is divided, and it will not stand. It will fall, and for the very reason that Christ stated, because there is internal conflict in the kingdom of darkness. And we're going to be using this basic understanding, and it's really a basic one. But, so many people, there's good and there's evil, and there's no shades of gray. But on that evil left-hand path, there are competing currents that will war against each other. And this is the culmination of it that we're going to see here in Revelation 17:16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Now that's total smackdown there, and that's what it's going to come to in the dark realm. Now, in the book of Daniel, is Barack Obama the king of the North? And the truth is that I believe that this ancient spirit that was motivating the king of the North is indeed at work to this day with Barack Obama. Now, in Daniel 11:11, and the king of the south shall be moved with choler, and shall come forth and fight with him, even with the king of the north, and he shall set forth a great multitude, but the multitude shall be given into his hand. Now, in the original timeline here, the king of the north was Antiochus Epiphanes of the Seleucid dynasty, and the king of the south was Ptolemy Philopator, and he was of the Ptolemy dynasty. And these two, they were the king of the north, the king of the south. They were engaged with conflict for many, many years. And now, of course, these dynasties, the Ptolemies and the Seleucids, they have died. They've passed on the scene. They no longer exist. But the spirit that was motivating them still exists. Now, what I want us to think about is the tremendous conflict that has been this north-south paradigm in many countries throughout history. Here in the United States, we had that little thing called the Civil War, the North and the South. And you see this in the history of every nation. It's uncanny. But this is absolutely, and how do you explain these repeated coincidences? Well, I understand them as the working of these ancient spirits that keep pushing toward the agenda. And that agenda is the enthronement of their king in Revelation chapter 13. Now, in Daniel 11, the king of the north, there are many things. In Daniel 11, it talks about a raiser of taxes. And boy, that was Obama for sure, if you remember that. But every president of the United States is almost heir apparent to being the king of the North. You can see so much of this in the Bushes and so much in so many of them. And not every specific thing will play out, but the general pattern you can see. But I want us to just think a little bit about this North versus South, not just in the history of our country, but on the entire earth. Now, this is the symbol here of NORAD, the North American Aerospace Defense Command. There's the Northern Command, there's NORAD, and here we see here in this next slide, this is the symbol of NATO, which is kind of creepy looking, which is the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. And on the entire we're going to look at what they call the global North, the global South. I call it the flat Earth North and the flat Earth South is what I call it. But this is how our nations are breaking down. It's just the way it is. And why is it the way it is? It is the way it is because there are ancient spirits that are at work that keep making this North-South dynamic that plays out in every country all throughout the history, and the only explanation for it is that there are spirits behind it making it happen.
Yeah, it's interesting the way it always plays out too. And then we look at this map that you have here, David. The Brant line that kind of divides all of this stuff. You can, obviously Britain had a huge part in the United States, and some would say even just as big a part still to this day, maybe even land rights into Canada and all these different places, France and all of these locations. And you see like usually when wars break out between races, you usually have a color difference between the North and the South as well, which is interesting. So it's wild. I don't know what to make of it all yet, but it is wild.
Yeah, and it's an undeniable coincidence. And just looking at that breakdown on the map, right now, who would be the person pulling the strings, the king of the North, it would undoubtedly be Mr. Trump. And who would the candidate for the king of the South be? It would be Mr. Xi Jinping of China. And I think we will continue to see this North-South paradigm to go ahead and go forward. And we're going to be looking at some other really recent developments that are going to help us with that. Now, in regard to Mr. Obama, and of course Mr. Obama and Mr. Trump, they are two different expressions. My opinion, I see them as the two different heads of the eagle that are both, they're going to both basically wind up in the same place, and but they go at it in very different ways. And I think the hatred there is real. I think there's real animosity between the right and the left. And it doesn't mean that one, and of course for me, obviously the things that the so-called left-hand path, they are so repulsive to me that I can't imagine anybody would want to be associated with it. Now, I can understand on the other side how a person could think they're doing good and be a part of it. But anyway, that's just another rant that I could go on.
Well, the black and the white squares, black and white, have the same gematria, man. They have the two sides. And you read that verse there about the kings are going to hate the horns on the beast. They hate that, and I think we're seeing it play out right now in front of our face. I mean, there's a lot of signs that point to a whole regime shift, and there's no doubt that the people that are getting shifted aren't liking it. They're fighting tooth and nail.
Yeah, they are, and the animosity is real. The violence that we're seeing is so disturbing. The violence is overwhelming.
Did you see that guy that Elon Musk called Big Balls? The kid got beat up there in D.C. That was no coincidence.
Oh yeah, that was horrible. And the incident in Cincinnati.
Oh yeah, that was awful.
I mean, these are. Well, it's just very frightening, all the violence we're seeing. Yeah. And that's the thing that we need to don't get caught up in the violence and the hate. We're not here to pick a side and to gin everybody up with anger. We're here to say that Jesus is the answer and the Israel of God is our answer. I don't believe there is a political solution to this because I think our nation is headed for the judgment of God. But that's for another time. Let's look at this verse in Daniel 11:37. And like John said, there's going to be a poll here tonight, and we want to hear what you think. You know, we've got our ideas. We're going to have a question there. Do you believe that Michelle Obama is a man? And you can vote yes or no. And, I've been maybe a little too smarty mouth. I'll make remarks about Big Mike. Maybe I should dial it back. I don't know. But I guess that kind of gives away my thoughts on it. And also, we're going to have a place where you can vote. Is Bridget McCrone a man? And we want to hear what you think. We really do. And it's going to be very interesting. And we'll be making that poll known, of course. And it's going to be a lot of fun to look at. And we really hope that many of you take part in that poll. And we're going to be presenting some evidence tonight that connects Barack Obama prophetically with this King of the North. And by the way, he's not done yet. It ain't like because he's not president that he isn't a huge factor. I think most political pundits would agree that all through the Biden administration that Mr. Obama was pretty much calling the shots. And he still seems to be the leader in that very complex mess that they have going on. But let's look at this scripture in Daniel 11:37, and it says, and this is speaking of the King of the North, and the King of the North is a different individual than we see in Revelation 13. And the King of the North and the King of the South, I think a lot of the prophetic confusion comes from confusing these characters. But anyway, it says here, the King of the North, neither shall he regard the God of his fathers, nor the desire of women, nor regard any God, for he shall magnify himself above all. And certainly Mr. Obama, he was religiously dyslexic, claimed to be a Christian, but he looked very much like a Muslim at times, and he even carried pagan idols. He had that he would carry on. He had a idol of Hanuman, the monkey god, that he carried with him, and he had a handful of little idols that were always with him. Yeah. So he certainly was a religiously dyslexic person. Yeah. But we're going to present some information to you, and a lot of this, I know a lot of this, it had been so long that I had to be refreshed on it, but we want you to look at this, and there's always another side to the story. These things have been denied by Barack Obama, and but let's give a listen. Here is a fellow by the name of Donald, I believe this guy is Mr. Larry. I think he is Larry Sinclair.
Yeah, this is Larry Sinclair.
Larry Sinclair. So let's watch this interview here, a little bit of it, with Tucker Carlson to get a general idea of what this man claimed.
I edited it down, David, so we didn't include too many grotesque.
Well, thank you very much.
It's edited down. You get the gist. There we go.
I was in town for a few nights, but yeah, I was definitely looking to party. And
did you make that clear to the driver?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There was no misunderstanding.
How direct were you about that?
Extremely.
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 Okay.
Yeah. There was no doubt what I was looking for.
Okay.
And he picked me up at my hotel in Gurnee and drove into Chicago, pulled up in a bar outside, and there's this guy that's introduced to me as Barack Obama. It was literally that casual.
Had you ever heard of him?
No.
Did the driver know him?
Yep. The driver definitely knew him because the driver said that he was a friend. When I brought up the fact that I could use something to wake up, he immediately knew what I was referring to, had made it clear that I was looking for coke, and I really was, and had made the suggestion that he knew where we could get it, and we left to go get it. He gets out, comes back. I start putting a line on a CD tray to snort.
And you're in the limo?
Yep.
Driving or parked?
No, the driver's driving.
Yep.
I start to put a line on a CD tray, and I just happen to notice that he pulls something else out of his pocket. And next thing I know, he's got a little pipe and he's smoking. So I don't have an issue with it. I mean, some people smoke, some people snort.
Smoking the cocaine.
Yes. So as I'm doing a line, I just start, this is the part where you kind of make your move to see where things are going. So I just started rubbing my hand along his thigh to see where it was going.
Yeah,
And
don't
it
wait.
went the direction
You get
I
the
had
idea.
intended it to go.
And this fella goes on to say that he had relations with Mr. Barack Obama that night. Now, that is one. And, of course, we want to say, too, that Mr. Obama vehemently denied this. Now, this is something else that is very, very disturbing. There was a fellow by the name of Donald Young that was murdered at the church where Barack Obama attended. And this is the church there that he received so much attention for the radical statements. But watch this video here, and it's just another little thing we need to consider to get this picture.
One News. A man who worked as a choir conductor and school teacher is found shot to death. The victim, 47-year-old Donald Young. Good evening, everyone. Young's death has been ruled a homicide. His body was discovered yesterday morning inside his South Side home at 2320 East 69th Street. ABC 7's Michelle Gallardo is here now with more on the case and how Young is being remembered tonight. Michelle?
All right, that's basically what I got out of that video because they pretty much just repeat themselves after that. But this is, yeah, there was a big story on this guy.
Yeah. Now, there was a lady, and we'll put you up a book cover here. There was a lady that investigated this, and she actually wrote a book by Larry Sinclair, and this was Mr. Sinclair's book, Cocaine, Sex Lies, and Murder. And there was another person that began investigating Donald Young, and there were multiple reports that Donald Young had been the boyfriend of Barack Obama for many years. And then at the time this scandal began to break, Mr. Young winds up murdered. Something you wanted to say about this slide here,
No,
John?
the book is featured there in the middle. I just put put an article that was out during the time where, because I mean it was a big deal when it happened. I remember you know, people were talking about it all over the place, and they were trying to keep it quiet, doing whatever they could do. And I'm sure you'll talk a little bit about that. But man, yeah, this is the book right there, and then this is just an article in the background I threw on there for just to give people a perspective of how it was perceived.
Yeah, and in the so-called amongst the homosexual community in Chicago, this supposedly was a very well-known fact. And here's a picture of this fella that was the choir director. And over on the slide on the right, there is a fella, Dr. Kimball Layden, and his wife, Sylvia Duchette Layden. And his wife began to investigate into the murder of Donald Young, and by golly, she died too. Now, this looks to me, my opinion, this looks like a page out of the Clinton playbook.
How did she die, do you know?
Pardon?
How did she die, do you know?
Well, it was deemed suspicious, but there was no criminal investigation into it. Which is not surprising, but, you know, after a while, I mean, good grief, it was just like with the Clintons. There was a trail of dead bodies behind them that would just be hard to deny after a while. You can just have so many coincidences. And there was a book entitled, and you can still get this book, Obama and the Murder of Donald Young, Sylvia's Last Case. And this is about the murder of Donald Young, who was supported to be Mr. Obama's lover, and also the mysterious death of this lady that was investigating that. So the trail of bodies begins to escalate there. Now, this is another thing for y'all to consider. And like I say, all of these things were vehemently denied by Mr. Obama. And we really want to hear from you tonight. We want to hear your opinion in this poll about these things. But this is a video that got a lot of attention at the time. And this is Joan Rivers. And Joan Rivers is on tape here. We're going to play it for you, saying that Obama is gay and Michelle is a transgender. What happened to Joan Rivers right after that? She dies. She dies. And supposedly at a bizarre, I believe it was at a dentist office with a dental procedure, and Joan Rivers dies. Now, come on. You know, I just, too many coinkydinks here just gets me a little bit suspicious. But we'll play this. This will probably might be a while since y'all have seen this, but this is a real memory jogger here.
Officiating the wedding in New York yesterday. Is this like a new cottage career move for you?
I am so excited.
Okay.
And I should do very well because I don't charge.
And do you think that the country will see the United States will see the first gay president or the first woman
we
president?
already have it with Obama, so let's just calm down.
Got it.
You know Michelle is a
I'm sorry, she's a what?
a transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh. It's okay.
The way she said it so matter-of-factly, huh?
Yeah, it's like, and these are the way that the things about Mr. Young, that, yeah, the homosexual community, we know this. You know, like it was, it's not something they're going to tell to the public, but it's like, here, you know, that this is the way it is.
I'm going to start that poll right now, David, for people to see what they think about that. So look in the chat. The poll's starting now. You can change your mind. I think you can vote later if you decide you want to change your mind at any point. But the poll is right now, so go vote over there. All right, David.
Does it pass the smell test or does it not? Is Michelle a man? And we're going to be getting into Bridget McCrone here also, and we're going to let you vote on that. We want to hear what you say. But you know, it's like you can't make this stuff up. And here is Elon Musk's dad. Now, fewer people know about this, but back at the time of the Barack Obama and Michelle controversy on their sexuality, who weighs in on it but Elon Musk's daddy? And let's hear what Earl Musk claims here.
Africa had never been impressed with Obama's approach. You know, we realized we'd learned Obama's a queer married to a man who dresses as a woman. We'd all learned that. It's not common knowledge, you know, that
Michelle Obama is a man.
Of course. You don't know that?
I didn't know that, no.
Well, now you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Joan Rivers mentioned it publicly, and she was dead 2 weeks later, by the way.
You think?
Oh, yes.
They axed her, eh?
They axed her, yeah. So that's common knowledge. You can look it up on any internet thing. I'm sure. And, Michelle Obama's a man. Obviously, you know, they've got, got pictures of her in tracksuits with a 9-inch slong hanging down her leg. No, it's a leg. Anyway, Africa had never been impressed.
I shouldn't have laughed at that, but
yeah, well, sometimes you got to laugh to keep from crying, you know. Yeah. And there's another video here, and we want to say too that and it's been several years since I've looked into this, but there were pictures back in the day I found of Michelle, like what Mr. Musk was referring to, that were very, very incriminating. I couldn't find them. And now you can find easily photos that look like they might have been photoshopped. Yeah. And is this disinformation? That's for you to decide. We want to hear what you think tonight. But John, set this video up here with Michelle.
All right.
I wanted to talk, Marlon, a bit about, just so proud of how you are being a role model for dealing with a child that's transgender.
Absolutely.
And that's, that warms my heart, particularly as a Black man. Would you care to share that journey of?
Well, I learned.
So let's put the context. So we have to add this for just because it is possible. She was talking about Marlon, I guess is the guy's name, But the way she put her hand on her chest when she said it, sus at best. At worst, at best, sus. That's all I got to say.
And this was a lot of controversy. Was Michelle saying that she was the black man, or was she referring to him as a black man? Well, that's for you to decide. That's for you to decide. Now, we have a video here where Barack Obama calls his wife Michael 2 times. So we'll watch this video.
Michael and I.
Does anything scare him?
You know, well, when Michelle's mad, when Michelle's mad,
Anyway, that's the ones I could find there, David. Hopefully those are the ones you were looking for, but those are the ones I could find. There were others that I couldn't tell if they were real or not because the videos were fairly new. So you know how AI is. If it was made before 2020, it's hard to trust. But those were definitely made before 2020.
Yeah, and do you know, was that a slip of the tongue? Was that a slip of the tongue? Did Michelle and Barack speak there and slip up and speak some honesty? That's what we want you to decide. We want you to vote in this poll and see what you think. Is Michelle Obama a man? Now, we're going to look at something else here that's very important, and this is another text about the King of the North, and this is something that's playing out right now like hotcakes. Daniel 11:39, thus shall he do in the most strongholds with the strange God, whom he shall acknowledge and increase with glory, and he shall cause them to rule over many, and shall divide the land for gain. Now, Daniel 11 prophesies that the King of the North will divide the land of Israel. Mr. Obama was very outspoken and famous for his two-state solution there in Israel, wanting to establish the Palestinian state. This is gaining a lot of ground right now. This is something that Mr. Netanyahu and Mr. Trump, they oppose this, but the pressure is growing, and it's very interesting who took the lead on this, and this was Mr. Macron, the head of France. And we see here this article, it says France to recognize Palestinian state at UN General Assembly. Now, since this, also England has got behind this. And we're going to be talking about some other developments. We're going to be talking about the Hague Group that really is coming in to going to play a role, I believe, this Hague Group. And we're going to try to show you some prophetic connections with that. But this next thing we're going to look at here, and is this a video or just an article, John?
This right here is a article. This is the article. I put it together here. I couldn't find the video that I needed for it, but I can read this to you real quick if you like.
Yes, you got it.
The Paris Appeals Court overturned the libel convictions of 2 women, Amandine Roy and Natasha Ray, who had spread false claims that French First Lady Brigitte Macron was born a man. The court ruled that the woman had every legal right to make those allegations, and the court did not provide further explanation. So there you go.
Yeah. So, yeah, there you go indeed. So we're familiar here with the Candace Owens allegation, how that Candace Owens made the claim that Michelle Macron was a man. They sued her, and I guess that lawsuit is in progress, but this was a little less known, that 2 other people in France had already been sued for making the same allegations against Brigitte Macron, and their conviction for libel was overturned in the French court. Now, here we're going to show you some pictures of Brigitte Macron, and what Mr. Macron says that he met Brigitte when he was in high school. He was 15 years old, and she was 24 years older than he was. And here we see pictures of Brigitte, and is this a man or is this a woman? Is there a strange spiritual connection between Barack Obama and Mr. Macron and those that are working? Do we see the hand of the Spirit here working, trying to bring about this King of the North into fruition? And I think, well, my opinion, you know the way I think. I think we can see the trail of the serpent here.
Man, you know, I don't know if you saw the Becoming Bridget series. Did you see it, David?
I did not.
All I can say is this. I know that there's a lawsuit right now against Candace Owens. That just happened like I think we covered it a couple weeks ago on one of our Thursday night midweek broadcasts that we did. But it's so compelling that I'm interested to see what happens with this lawsuit, because you know, obviously it didn't go in her favor for the last one, his favor for the last one, but all I can say is it was a compelling documentary.
Was that the one Jimmy Dore did?
I think so, yeah. Jimmy Dore. I've listened to a few of his stuff recently.
Yeah, and it is compelling, you know, and do you believe, what do y'all believe? What does our Midnight Ride audience think? Is this a man or is this a woman? Yeah. And, you know, whenever you have, you know, we know the flavor of society. We know when there's a 15-year-old boy that is in a relationship with someone 25 years older, you know, right there, you know, there's a red flag dropped on the playing field right there in my playbook.
Oh, yeah. His parents pulled him out of school because of the odd relationship that was had. Apparently, whoever this teacher was said that he would marry Macron.
Yeah,
and if that's the same guy, which I don't know, David. I can't. I'm just a poor man from Indiana. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. It's strange.
Well, you can just go in anonymously, place your vote. We don't have to say. I'm kind of giving myself away, I think, but but really, we want to know what you think. I mean, you know, are we getting carried away here? Or is this something that's just right in our face? Do we see here a deeper spiritual agenda? And I tell you what, I'd embarrass us all if I would talk about some of the rituals that are being performed to open gates. And they're all based on sexual magic. And these things, you know, they just really give me the willies. But anyway, we're going to talk about the Hague Group, and I know Jon is familiar with this Hague Group and has looked into it. And it says here it's a group of nations from the global south formed on the 31st of January, 2025. This is just new this year, to protect and uphold the rulings of the International Court Justice and the International Criminal Court, both located in The Hague, Netherlands, in relation to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And Mr. Netanyahu has been declared by organizations as a war criminal, and this is really gaining a lot of traction. And now Ireland has joined the Hague Group. You know, Ireland is more known for leprechauns and green beer than geopolitical intrigue, but Ireland has felt compelled that they want to stand with this Hague Group because they believe that the things that Israel is doing is causing hardship, famine, and the death of many innocent people. So this is a growing movement. Now, what's interesting is that they had, just about a month ago, they had a big meeting down in South America, and China has not joined this group yet, but China sent a delegation. Mm-hmm. Now, this looks like a big opportunity for the King of the South to jump in. But Jon, what is your assessment of this Hague Group?
Absolutely, I agree with everything you said about it. And China themselves have openly spoken about the crimes, the war crimes of Israel very openly, and said that they need to do something about it. I mean, they were very adamant about that. So them sending delegates there is astounding. Also, Turkey signed with the Hague Group, and we know that Turkey has been adamant about bringing back the Cross and the Crescent War. I mean, this is this is World War III in the making, man, in my opinion.
Yeah, and boy, you talk about a problem. Turkey is in NATO.
Yeah.
So here we have a King of the North alliance, Turkey's in it, and now they're siding with the South.
Yeah.
Now, according to Article 5 of NATO, if anyone would attack Turkey, the United States and all NATO members, we are bound by treaty to help them.
Yeah.
Now, boy, oh boy, what if Israel and Turkey would get into conflict? I mean, this is not a good situation at all. The potential for this to go south, pardon the pun, is just really, really extremely high.
I agree with that. 100. Yep.
And, everyone's got their opinion, and I'm sure there's spin on both sides, but I don't believe that. Well, and I'll just say this. I think there is genuine hardship, human suffering, and death of innocent people going on in Gaza. I think, and I'm sure that the Hamas is trying to blow that out of proportion, and on the other side, they're trying to spin it to make it look like it isn't there. But all that aside, I think there is genuine human suffering and starvation going on in Gaza, and that's what's moving so many people, even the radical nation of Ireland, to join with this, and it's a growing movement,
Yeah, well, just Thursday, they announced, Netanyahu announced that he was going to start occupying Gaza now. So not just they're actually now going to start moving themselves in to that area. So like that was all over the news Thursday. This is a huge, huge deal. So
yeah, and in this Hague group, it said that it's there to enforce the decisions of the World Court, which has declared Mr. Netanyahu a war criminal. Now that would mean if they put teeth into what they're saying, and every indication is they will, that none of these countries would be a place where Mr. Netanyahu could go or he would be arrested.
Yeah.
As a war criminal. So this is serious stuff. And this division between the North and the South, if we can understand these prophetic patterns, we see this King of the North, King of the South, it's still playing out, even though the original Ptolemies and Seleucids have long passed from the scene. And the very interesting fact that even though Barack Obama, who checked so many boxes here, the King of the North, that even though he's not president, he's still a big power player. So there's just a whole lot of things here for us to take a look at. Now, there's something here we want to look at. We've talked about this before, and this is another prophetic pattern that we want to keep in mind. And we're going to look at, with the understanding that this spirit of the King of the North is continually working. And we always see this pattern. We see tremendous civil unrest and discord. We see people turning on one another. And my goodness, the things that have happened here in our country are so heartbreaking. It really is. The violence is really bubbling to the surface. But in 2 Esdras 15:19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation. Now, in this time period, look at verse 29, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon the earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. Now, the dragons of Arabia, and 2 Esdras 15 talks about the Arab countries making a league with this dragon from the east. Now, it's hard not to associate this with China. And when we look what's happening just this year with the Hague Group, I tell you what, just watch. If China increases their involvement in this Hague Group, they could very well become the head of it. And this could be the very thing, like John brought up Turkey. Turkey is going to go with the King of the South on this one, so this could absolutely be a tinderbox that's ready to blow up.
Yeah, you mentioned the Arabians, the Muslims. Man, there's so many people that this verse struck a chord with me because I just got back from a place where there was a debate. There were people who were apologetics for Christians and for Muslims at this place. And the thing that almost all former Muslims fear the most is America going the way that their country went, going the way that London's going the way, because people don't realize how the whole way that a actual Muslim can proselytize is not through speech, because there's nothing that they can say that they can offer you that Christ can't offer you tenfold. There's nothing they can say in their scriptures. But what they do in the countries where they move to and they rapidly take over is they tell you can either convert and pay us taxes to keep you alive for safety for whatever reason, or you can die, or you can run or fight or whatever you're going to do. But that's how they convert people. They don't convert people any other way. They're not like out there like Christians are, like knocking doors and doing all the different things. They are. And if you go to another country where it's the predominant religion and where Sharia law exists, you will find no freedom. You will find nothing good for a person like you. And people don't know that. They don't understand that. And that's why I think it's important that we understand how to minister to Muslims, because that's our only tool. That's our only tool. A lot of Muslims, like, it's crazy, David. Like, they were just talking about on this debate how the Muslims are leaving for Christianity by the groves.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah.
So there is a way to battle it.
Yes.
But it is crazy. The way of method is killing people and getting rid of them.
There never has been a time when our Muslim friends are more ready to hear about Jesus. That is the thing above all things that we need to keep in mind right now. And there are so many nuances to all of these things that are going on. And that above all, we need to keep in prayer the souls of these Muslim folks and of our Jewish friends and of everybody. But I want to read Revelation 13:3 here. And I want us to think about, this is one everybody knows that. This is what I mean by spirits that work throughout the centuries to achieve an agenda. We know about the deadly wound agenda, don't we? And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. Now we saw, we did a broadcast. Well, did the assassination attempt on Mr. Trump fulfill the deadly wound? And we said no, it didn't, because there were many things in that didn't rise to the level of Scripture. And there are other incidents that was kind of close, but no cigar. And what I believe these are, it's these spirits that are trying to achieve this deadly wound scenario. And what we want to think about, we want to broaden our perspective out a little bit. We know about this deadly wound scenario, or we're looking at that, but we've got a King of the North scenario too, with spirits working to fulfill that. And there's another one here in Zechariah 11, another dark prophetic figure called the idol shepherd. So there are different things here that we can look at, and we're going to show you some strange things that have happened throughout history concerning the idol shepherd, which will give us an idea of what we need to look for now. But Zechariah chapter 11 and verse 6, "For I will no more pity the inhabitants of the land, saith the Lord, but lo, I will deliver the men, every one into his neighbor's hand, and into the hand of his king, and they shall smite the land, and out of their hand I will not deliver them." And every time we look at one of these dark prophetic figures, there's always this strife, this turmoil, this hatred, and this unrest that's bubbling up. And this is the atmosphere that these dark spirits move in. And they're literally energized by the hate and the anger of people. And that's why right now would be a good time for us to be on the lookout for these spirits to make a move to consummate their agenda. But let's look at this idol shepherd. And it says, "For lo, I will raise up a shepherd in the land, which shall not visit those that be cut off, neither shall seek the young one, nor heal that is broken, nor feed that standeth still, but he shall eat the flesh of the fat, and tear their claws in pieces. Woe to the idle shepherd that leaveth the flock. The sword shall be upon his arm, and upon his right eye. His arm shall be clean dried up, and his right eye shall be utterly darkened. Now, John, I remember very well a midnight ride you did where you had a lot of celebrities that were doing a little signaling with that right eye thing.
Oh yeah, man. That's one of the. I don't know how many, but there was hundreds of them doing the right eye thing, and this is interesting to me, David, because it brings up another show we did too, where I don't remember exactly what we taught out of it. We talked about the tribe of Dan. We talked about the Tuatha-De-Nan, and we talked about this. And there's an interesting figure. When this would be the classified North, okay, this would definitely be classified North because we're talking Norse people. We're talking Norse mythology here and history in general. And I don't know if a lot of people know this, David, but when the Norse people came to England, they killed 8 out of the 10 men there and populated that area. So like almost everybody from England, United States and all that, this is their bloodline, okay? So there was a king that they had, and a lot of people connected to Thor, that his right arm got taken off and his right eye. And this was like one of the gods of that, like he was like a god general, like a hero of old, you could call him a Nephilim, that was over that northern kingdom of people. Man, it's crazy when you think about it, and you can connect so many different random stories, but this story is one that's really profound, and I think that's the story of Thor. Man, Thor has his right eye get taken out and his right arm get taken off. Even in the Marvel movies, you can see that happen.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Wild.
It really, really is wild and crazy stuff, and so many things that are unexplainable. And certainly the Kennedy assassination is one of the most, it is an enigma wrapped in a mystery. And the associations, I'm sure a lot of you have seen, we played this on different broadcasts, all of the crazy associations between the Kennedy assassination and Abraham Lincoln. There's a list of them that are absolutely mind-blowing. Mr. Lincoln was shot at the Ford Theater, and Mr. Kennedy was shot in a Ford, and the Mr. Lincoln's secretary was named Kennedy. Mr. Kennedy's secretary was named Lincoln, and I mean it goes on and on and on. And these are the possibility of these happening in the natural world are beyond the realm of even possibility. And the only explanation that I can look to is that there are ancient spirits working throughout time that are coming to bring these things about. And I think that was what's in work. I know John did the broadcast on Baron von Trump and time travel. You know, what in the world? You know, there's no way that is just a coincidence. I think we have, when we understand that these spirits don't die when the people that they're using die, they keep going on to fulfill that agenda. That's the only way that I can understand that Baron von Trump thing. What are your thoughts, John, after sitting a few months since doing that broadcast?
Man, it's hard for me to decipher that, dude. You look at those things and I realize that there's things at play that I don't understand in the world. I get that. I really do. And in fact, the more that I study, the more I realize that. But when you look at something like that, you can only come to a few conclusions about it. And, you know, some of the conclusions are obviously the spirits are ancient. They outlive us, and they're able to plan things out and make things happen on certain dates and give prophetic utterances to people and even plan out the gematria of everything. I mean, when you look at the gematria of all of this stuff, it's just lines up. Even in the movies and text, it doesn't matter. It's just all planned out. Even our language seems to be planned out in a way to do these things. So I don't know what to make of it, David. I wish I could say, you know, this is what it is, but I see also God's hand in it, because I don't know who else could do some of these things. I don't know who else can make these one in who knows how many trillions of a chances of all of these things lining up the way that they're lining up. And it seems like some of it, like the Baron Trump thing, seems believable, but at the same time, like, I don't have a book that old in my library of the Baron Trump thing either. You know, that's something I've considered too. I don't know anybody who does either, that had an old book written from back then or even close in their library. And maybe there is, but there's also that at play. Like, are they deceiving us? Or are they trying to make us believe that they can time travel, that they're these all-powerful people. I mean, this book, for all I know, was written 10 years ago. I remember when we first started hearing about it. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, it's wild to think about.
Yeah, it really is. And here's something else wild to think about. And we want to think now about the idol shepherd agenda and the spirit that is working to bring this about, how it's been active throughout time. And this fella here was William Henry Seward.
Kind of looks like Abraham Lincoln there.
Yeah. And he was the Secretary of State to Mr. Abraham Lincoln.
Wow.
And at the time, and William Henry Seward had an accident in his carriage. And wouldn't you know, his right arm was badly damaged. And he was in the hospital recovering from those injuries when Mr. Lincoln was assassinated. Wow. Now, it was also planned in their plan to kill Mr. Seward also. And in his hospital room, an assassin went in with a knife to kill him in his hospital bed. Yeah. And they went in, and the way it was described is that he took this knife and he was slashing the right side of his face. And they said it looks like they were trying to cut his eye out. And Mr. Seward, and if the guy had been, wanting to seriously injure him, he had plenty of time to kill him, but he just kept slicing the right side of his face, like taking out the right eye. So Mr. Seward survived that. But how in the world, to me, this is another evidence that this dark entity of the idol shepherd was at work wanting to bring about a scenario.
Dude, I'm going to bring about a scenario here in the Bible in 1 Samuel 11, too. Do you remember this in 1 Samuel 11?
Yes, sir, I do.
Where the Ammonites, basically, I don't remember what tribe it is, and because I'm pulling this, I looked it up to see what the reference was, but I'm pulling this story off the top of my head, so give me some grace here, because I remember it, but I don't remember all the details. But from what I understand, the dude's name, Nahash, which is close to Nahash, which is like the serpent, which is really strange. He goes to this tribe, and he basically says, here, I'll let you live, but you're going to all take out your right eye. And David, you're pulling it up, so maybe it'll be better to hear it from you. But this was one of the threats, to take all of their right eye, and Saul, and I guess it forced Saul to kind of save them. You got that pulled up, David?
Yeah. Yeah, it says in 2 Samuel 11, then Nahash the Ammonite came up and encamped against Jabesh Gilead, and all the men of Jabesh said unto Nahash, make a covenant with us, we will serve thee. And Nahash the Ammonite answered them, on this condition will I make a covenant with you, that I may thrust out all your right eyes, and lay it for a reproach upon all Israel. And we could call this the reproach of the idol shepherd.
Yeah.
And the elders of Jabesh said unto him, give us 7 days respite, that we may send messengers unto all the coast of Israel, and then, if there be no man to save us, we will come out unto thee. Yeah, and this is, it's just interesting.
It reminds me of what they do in Hollywood, man. It's almost like a sign that we've got these people.
Yeah.
They're ours now. Like, you idol shepherd, you've let them stray, now we've got them type thing. It's weird.
Yeah, it's very much like that, like a brand, a sign of ownership.
Yeah.
And here's another fella. You might remember Mr. Bob Dole, who run against Mr. Bill Clinton unsuccessfully for president. Now, Mr. Dole, who run as a Republican, there was he had his right arm that was injured in an injury from the war, and during the campaign, he fell down and injured his right eye. And here's a picture of Mr. Dole's swollen and injured right eye, and he was there with his right eye and his right arm injured. And this was really, if you remember that campaign, from the time he fell, the narrative went, well, he's old, feeble, blah, blah, blah. And he really dived and lost the election. He was favored, I believe, before that. But after this, there he went. But this is just another of these strange right arm, right eye connections with famous people that I think in these events that we can see the work of this ancient spirit.
Yeah, and I think just recently the Elon Musk thing, when all that stuff broke out, didn't he come forward with a black eye right after all of that?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yes, he did. Yeah. I tell you what.
I mean, I've had a black eye before because I train at a gym, but dude, it's rare. So I can't imagine how all these old men are getting their eyes blackened all the time, like they're getting in barroom brawls. I mean, how often do men your age brawl, David?
Yeah.
I mean, it could happen. Don't get me wrong. A bunch of high energy people that are trying to take each other's money. I'm sure it can happen, but man, it's weird how many of them it happens to. I mean, I think I've gotten like 2 black eyes in the last 2 years.
It's been a while since I've had one. Been a while.
So,
well, we're going to look here at something else that is absolute high strangeness. Now, this happened at a Donald Trump rally. And there at the Donald Trump rally, this took place in Tucson, Arizona. And behind Mr. Trump, there were some people on the right side of Mr. Trump, and there were some people on the left side of Mr. Trump. You'll see them here in this video. And what's just beyond crazy, the people to the right of Mr. Trump come down with mysterious eye injuries. The ones on the left did not. And we'll just play a little bit of this for you, and no explanation could be given. Just absolutely crazy. But take a look at this.
Supporters of former President Donald Trump that were allowed to sit behind his stage at his Tucson rally last week tell the News 4 Tucson investigators they left with mysterious injuries to their eyes.
Yeah, well, Monica, this is where thousands of people came out to hear former President Donald Trump speak last week. There was a group of 48 people allowed to sit on stage behind Trump throughout the event. They were split into 2 groups on each side of the stage. One side seemed to walk away without any issues, but multiple people seated near each other on the other side tell me that they had to go to the emergency room after they left the event. Here tonight, for the first time, the Trump campaign is confirming that they're investigating this situation.
As soon as we left and I stepped outside, I started feeling like my eyes were burning.
At first, she thought it might be allergies. She lives near Phoenix. By the time she got home, it was so bad she decided to go to the emergency room.
The emergency room staff keeps saying, from the triage nurse to the PA, and are you sure you don't get spray anything? Your symptoms look like you were sprayed something.
The News 4 Tucson investigators spoke to her the morning after the rally, Friday last week. That morning, she was nearly blind.
I can't see anything. When I try to open my eyes, it's like a white cloud cover. It hurts. It hurts a lot to open my eyes. I mean, I have this cold cloth that I put on and I take off all the time. But this is horrible.
She says the doctors weren't able to determine what exactly caused it. Her initial thought of allergies went out the window when she heard from several others seated next to her at the rally that also ended up seeking medical attention with the same symptoms.
It kept getting worse and worse. My eyes started watering a lot. My nose started running. Then I started feeling my face get really flushed, and then my neck felt like it was on fire. And it just progressed from there.
This Tucson woman, who doesn't want to be identified, was seated in the same area behind Trump with her brother. Both walked away with eye injuries and sought medical attention.
I was all focused on my eyes. I mean, my eyes were red like hell, I mean, it's like, it just like unbearable. You just couldn't, I couldn't handle it. I just couldn't handle it.
Whatever caused it seems to be isolated to the group seated on stage right. Former Congressional District 6 candidate Kathleen Wynne was seated on the opposite side of the stage and says she and everyone she knows seated near her walked away without any issues.
Well, what in the world you going to make out of that? No plausible explanation for it. In the world that we live in, no medical explanation, no logical explanation. But perhaps there is an explanation if we consider the agendas and the movement in the spiritual realm. Yep. And that's for you to all decide tonight. We want you to, and I think that it is a very good thing for us to have a big picture look at things, to where we can see broad trends that are coming about that are going to develop in directions that's going to bring about the fulfillment of Bible prophecy. And I can think of no other reason for this strange event there in Phoenix than this might have been the work of that fallen power bringing about the idol shepherd. I don't know, John. What do you think?
I mean, it's possible. It's very possible that this is just signs to just show us over and over again. This is what it is. I mean, it looks like it. It really does, because there's so many things and so many things we're seeing from Hollywood, from whatever, the Right Eye Club. I mean,
yeah,
it is so huge, and so it has to be something like that, David. It has to be either they're forecasting where the idol shepherd resides. I mean, if in fact, the whole story, like we talked about, the assemblies of the shepherds over the nations, it's not hard to believe that one of them didn't do his job, and we might be the flock that was underneath that shepherd. It's not hard to believe at all.
Yeah, and I think about what Jesus said to Peter. He said, "Satan hath desired you, that he might sift you as wheat." I believe that Satan wanted Peter to be the betrayer, not Judas. And I think that that's what we might be seeing in some of these scenarios, that these spirits are trying to choose someone for their agenda, but they just can't quite get the job done with them. So anyway, it was prophesied that there would be one that would betray Christ, but it wasn't predetermined that it had to be Judas. And I think that Satan wanted Peter to be the deceiver, and I think this same concept is working out in what we see with this King of the North scenario, the idol shepherd scenario, and the deadly wound scenario. These are things that we see play out through timelines, through the centuries, in ways that are, call them prophetic parallels, ciphers, call them what you will. They are undeniable reoccurrences. It's like the book of Ecclesiastes says, there's nothing new under the sun. That which is that which has been.
I so agree, and I think God's showing us these things because the time is here for us to see them. I mean, we need to see these things, and we need to know that God's in control, that we can attain salvation, and that we can make it through these things. And so I'm glad you brought this out tonight, David. Awesome broadcast. Thank you for talking about this. I know that Obama is not, I don't believe Obama is done for yet. We keep hearing about him in the news and stuff. I think that there's still more on the world stage for Mr. Obama, and we're going to see what that is. But I'm excited to do it. You ready for the Pounders Pound, guys?
Let's do the Pounders Pound. Yes, indeed.
All right, here we go, guys. We hit the like button on the count of 3 all together at the same time. Here we go.
1, 2, 3. Boom.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. David, end us out.
Well, as always, thanks for all of you that are a part of the Midnight Ride, that support the work in whatever way that you do. Like I say, take part in this poll. We're really interested in seeing what you think about this. It's going to be a lot of fun seeing what you think and thinking about the results. Remember, Conspiracy Con, there's still time for you to be there. So with that, until next Saturday night, 10 p.m. Central, a big high five and good night, everybody, from the Midnight Ride.
And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up, rise up, rise up.